Well, here's what's coming up on the world today. More than 350 people killed as rising lake raises fears of a possible second flood in Nepal. Bolivia's President Rodrigo Paz denies the formal links to Crimedo, who is now accused of being behind the shooting of his former partner. Plus, NATO Secretary General admits Europe's shortcomings as the US reviews NATO commitments. Let's begin the world today. Hello everyone, and thanks for joining us. I'm Amarachi Ubani. A massive search and rescue operation is underway along the Nepal-Tibet border for survivors or bodies after devastating flash floods destroyed homes, swept away bridges and submerged roads. More than 900 people are reported missing, while at least 359 have died in Nepal. In Tibet, 558 people have also been declared missing, with 3 deaths confirmed. The U.S. Geological Survey says a glacial collapse and debris flow triggered the disaster, with fears of further flooding as a rising lake threatens to burst its banks. Hundreds of foreign nationals are among the missing, as rescuers battle dangerous terrain and worsening conditions. The United Nations has stepped up emergency relief efforts following the devastating floods in Nepal and now in China. Agencies such as the World Health Organization have already deployed medical supplies, including kits capable of supporting over 10,000 people for 3 months. The World Food Programme and UNICEF are also preparing to send relief teams and supplies, while other UN teams have been assessing the damage and coordinating assistance. United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres says he's deeply saddened by the scale of the disaster. The UN resident coordinator in Nepal is leading efforts alongside humanitarian partners, supporting the government's response. The UN says the Tibet Autonomous Region has also suffered significant casualties and destruction.
The Secretary General is saddened by the severe flooding that we saw earlier today in Nepal and in China, which has claimed many lives, left people missing, and caused widespread destruction. He extends his condolences to the families of the victims and wishes a swift recovery to those injured. He expressed his solidarity with all those affected. In Nepal, we, along with our humanitarian partners, under the leadership of the UN resident coordinator in that country, Lila Pieters Yaya, are coordinating the relief efforts. This is being done in support of the government-led response in an effort to meet what will clearly be massive humanitarian needs. 2 staff from the World Health Organization are already on site with enough medical kits for about 10,000 people for 3 months, as well as tents and logistics support. Starting tomorrow, the World Food Programme and UNICEF are also deploying staff and trucks carrying relief supplies. Our humanitarian partners are also mobilizing. Save the Children started deploying staff to Nuwakot district, and the Nepalese Red Cross has dispatched some 200 emergency shelter packages. Our colleagues at the UN Development Programme are mobilizing data management support as well as dispatching UN volunteers. The humanitarian community is also on standby to provide additional support as the needs become clearer. We're also supporting efforts to rapidly assess the scale of the disaster. The Resident Coordinator's Office and OCHA's regional office are helping secure satellite imagery and analysis over the area that was impacted by these floods.
China is also battling a major flood at its border with Nepal. The deadly flash flood left a trail of destruction across parts of Bagmati province, burying buildings and roads in thick mud and debris. From various locations across the province, floodwater can still be seen roaring downstream, carrying mud and debris. Buildings along the banks have been caked in brown sludge, while homes nearby have been deserted. China has deployed rescue teams to one of the areas affected. They're in Zhejiang Autonomous Region. The Ministry of Emergency Management says an initial team of 141 rescuers reached Jurong Port today, along with a high-altitude helicopter. A further 111 specialists from the China Search and Rescue Team arrived in Jurong County later today to reinforce the operation. An upstream blockage is also complicating rescue efforts. Personnel at the scene say the threat must first be dealt with before crews can safely clear debris accumulated about 3 kilometers upstream of the port. Move away from the floods in Nepal and in China to Bolivia's President Rodrigo Paz, who is denying a formal relationship with Argentine political consultant Fernando Crimedo, who is accused in connection with the shooting of his former partner, Nadia Bella. President Paz says Mr. Crimedo, was brought into the campaign during the presidential runoff, but insists there was never a contract or official working relationship. The president also rejected claims that Crimedo had authority to represent him, his government, or his family. Nadia Bella, who survived the August 18 shooting, has alleged that Crimedo had direct access to the president and significant influence inside the government. Crimedo denies the accusations and remains in detention as investigations continue. Now, Colombia's President Abelardo del Espriella says he remains committed to building a maximum security mega prison to hold the country's most dangerous criminal groups. Speaking in Bogota, the president accused some existing prisons of becoming centers for organized crime, where criminal operations are coordinated from behind bars. The president says the new facilities will be developed with private sector involvement as part of a wider crackdown on drug trafficking and armed groups. President Espriella also warned that no one will be authorized to negotiate with terrorist organizations, threatening legal action against anyone who does. His government says security forces have already arrested more than 500 people and seized 13 tons of cocaine. We're in Europe now, where NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte says there's still much more to be done as Europe faces growing pressure to take greater responsibility for its own defense. Speaking in Brussels, Rutte says Europe and Canada must step up and ensure a more equitable sharing of NATO's defense burden with the United States. U.S. defense official Eldridge Colby says Europe is preparing to take primary responsibility for conventional defense, while Washington moves toward a more limited supporting role. The shift comes as the Pentagon reviews U.S. troop numbers and bases across Europe, raising fears of major American military cuts. NATO members have committed to higher defense spending, but questions remain over whether Europe can build the forces and weapons needed to reduce its reliance on the U.S.
It's really an honor to have Rich Colby visiting today, and you're a great friend. You were here in February, and then we discussed the absolute need for Europe to step up, and Canada to step up in NATO, and to have a more honest and a more equitable sharing of what you're doing within NATO with the United States. You coined the phrase NATO 3.0. And that's basically what we're now all using, because it was very well put. It is a stronger Europe and a stronger Canada in a stronger NATO, and it is happening. When you look at the moment, in 2025, $139 billion extra spent on defense by the Canadians and the Europeans compared to the years before, and it is still continuing, and there's still much more to be done. We will get there. When you look at the capabilities, the same good news story, and when it comes to the leadership positions within NATO, the same is happening. Then we had a visit in June of Secretary Hexet, and he said, hey, listen, we constantly have to look at what is the best footprint for the US in Europe, given the security environment. And he said, we will consult with our allies. This is exactly what you have been doing over the last couple of months. Today is also evidence of that. You being here at the meeting with the ambassadors, also consulting on this, discussing with allies what is the best way forward. So thank you for that. Thank you for your leadership and for being such an incredible friend.
Well, thank you, sir.
Thanks.
Thank you.
NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte, a British MP, is calling for greater transparency over security measures protecting a Ukrainian-owned drone factory in Suffolk amid warnings of possible Russian retaliation. Nick Timothy, who represents Mildenhall, says the UK must prepare for what he describes as hybrid warfare. The warning follows comments by former Russian Deputy Foreign Minister Andrei Fedorov, who suggested UK drone factories could face a possible semi-military response. The factory, operated by Ukrainian firm UKR Spec Systems, can produce up to 1,000 drones a month and was opened earlier this year as part of a £200 million investment. Local officials say residents are anxious, while the Ministry of Defence insists the security of defence sites and surrounding communities remains a top priority. 3 United States Marines have been formally recognized for their actions during the deadly 2021 attack on Kabul's Abbey Gate. U.S. Secretary of War, excuse me, Pete Hegseth, awarded Bronze Stars with Valor to retired Marines Jonathan Eby and Jordan Houston, who helped secure the scene and evacuate wounded personnel after the blast. Houston was himself injured, but continued helping others. Michael Gretson received the Navy and Marine Corps Commendation Medal with Valor for maintaining crowd control from an exposed position following the explosion. Secretary Hegseth said their courage represented the best of the U.S. military and accused bureaucracy and politics of delaying the recognition they deserved. The August 2021 attack killed 13 U.S. service members and around 170 Afghan civilians.
The world witnessed the absolute best of America standing in the gap to defend our country and those they serve alongside during one of the darkest strategic hours. These 3 Marines embody a timeless truth written in the book of Proverbs. The wicked flee when no one pursues, but the righteous are as bold as a lion. On that chaotic day, you, men, were bold as lions. When the wicked sought to sow terror, these men stood as lions at that gate, bold in their purpose, fierce in their resolve, and unbreakable in their courage. Yet, for half a decade, this building allowed bureaucratic caution, or maybe politics, to stand in the way of proper recognition. Today, on this milestone anniversary, we declare that those days are over. True national readiness and our core strategic mission to achieve peace through strength do not begin simply with weapon systems or budgets. It starts with the sacred trust between the War Department and the warriors we send into harm's way.
Why are you bumping me? Why are you waving a communist flag? What is the issue with Nick Shirley? I'm trying to understand.
White supremacist.
He's a white supremacist?
Who only exists color and immigrants. He specifically targets immigrants.
Unfortunately, he's never gone to the White House.
My thoughts on everything is that the police protect racists. The police protect pedophiles.
Big balls! Nick got big balls!
Right now, for the right.
Why are they arresting you? Why are they arresting you? Oh, he's so tough!
As supporters and opponents of conservative YouTuber Nick Shirley have clashed with the police during a rally in Sacramento over controversial new California law. Critics have dubbed the law the Stop Nick Shirley Act, arguing it could restrict citizen journalism by limiting the publication of certain personal information and images. Supporters of the law say it is designed to protect the home addresses of employees and volunteers working with immigration support services. Mr. Shirley rejects claims he is misrepresenting the legislation, insisting opponents have not fully read the law. The measure was signed by California Governor Gavin Newsom on August 22nd.
Why are they arresting you? Why are they arresting you?
Here's where we head on to our first break on the program. Still ahead. He's done it before, he's doing it again. A Pakistani man transforming his car into a unique work of art by covering it with thousands of coins. Stay with us. Welcome back to the world today. The Ghanaian government has declined a 20 million Ghana cedis, which equates to $1.8 million donation offered by MTN Ghana to support Ghanaian victims affected by recent xenophobic attacks in South Africa. The Ghanaian Ministry of Foreign Affairs disclosed a rejection in a press statement, saying that President John Mahama's administration has already made sufficient financial provisions for the evacuation and reintegration of affected citizens, making it unnecessary to accept the telecom giant's offer. Foreign Affairs Minister Samuel Ablakwa said the decision was not a rejection of MTN's gesture, but reflected the government's existing arrangements to handle the humanitarian response. Canada's Deputy High Commissioner to Nigeria, Carlos Royas Arabulu, has commended the Nigerians in Diaspora Commission and its 15-member NIDEC Planning Committee for successfully organizing a highly impactful diaspora conference in Canada. Mr. Royas Arabulu described the conference as a significant step towards strengthening bilateral relations between Nigeria and Canada, noting it provided an important platform for enhanced cooperation, engagements, and development between the two countries.
Very successful Nigeria Diaspora Economic Conference in Toronto, Canada. Thank you for the advice you gave, all the support you gave. It was successful beyond our imagination. So we're really grateful for the support from you, from the Canadian government, and from our government too. And it's a very good way forward for both countries in terms of relationship with the diaspora, our business connections. So I just want to say thank you to you.
And the first thing that I'll say is congratulations as well, and thank you for the leadership that you're demonstrating once again with regards to trying to bring our peoples together. This particular conference was quite a success. I was happy to watch from afar so many people showing up, so many people coming together, both from the federal and the state level of Nigeria. And likewise, on the Canadian side, having Canadian companies, having officials from the province as well as the municipality and the federal level, which to me speaks to how much there is interest to try to strengthen and to try to grow the relationship. I particularly think that that comes into play at a time that our countries are growing our ties. You will have seen that we now are going to have the direct flights between Lagos and Toronto, and I can only imagine that that's going to have a positive impact in terms of more trade, in terms of more people-to-people exchanges, potentially more investment going both ways, and as a result, an opportunity to be able to build on some of the things that you're doing and some of the things that you've started to be able to grow that relationship. So likewise, thank you for that effort, thank you for that leadership, and I really hope that we can continue to build and then move across other sectors and mobilize other stakeholders that I think believe that the Canada-Nigeria relationship is a strong one, and that clearly is going to have an even greater year 2027 and beyond. So thank you, Dr. Abike, much appreciated.
I guess some of the sights you will be seeing at the Changdu Auto Show in China. Motoring enthusiasts have packed the 2026 show at the Western China International Expo City for showcases like this, the latest models, futuristic technology, and eye-catching demonstrations. Visitors are moving between displays, getting hands-on with the new vehicles, while manufacturers are putting the technology to the test. Demonstrations include cars moving through water, as we saw earlier, tackling steep terrain, as we also saw earlier, and enduring freezing temperatures. Some visitors welcome the shift towards electric vehicles, pointing to global energy pressures and the environmental benefits of moving away from oil. Others, however, just drawn by the spectacle from astounding displays of engines and vehicles 2 dazzling installations. This international automobile exhibition formally continues. It's the 29th in Changdu. It features around 1,600 vehicles from major Chinese and international manufacturers.
支持下去，关注一下。我平时不太用懂。
今天给我使一下。第二个。
历经城市不久进行歌曲。除此之外，我们还为您带来了一晚的野餐体验，非洲内省技术空间。
Well, those cars moving on water will help when it comes to floods. Well, from one car auto show to another, an equally, interesting upgrade. A Pakistani man, Tariq Javed, has transformed his car into a unique work of art. He's covered it all with thousands and thousands of coins to celebrate the anniversary of his country's independence, a project that took nearly a full year to complete. Javed said the idea had been on his mind for years, explaining that he began working on the project on August 14 last year. He completed it about a week before the Independence Day celebrations. The car bears a plate marking August 14, 1947, the date of Pakistan's independence. Javed explains the project carries a message beyond its artistic aspect, saying that bringing coins together symbolizes independence, saying they're a free nation and they should live together, united and standing together. This will be the second car Javed will be upgrading in such a manner. He's decorated another one in Dubai using UAE coins.
I had this plan for years in my mind that when I go back home in Pakistan, I will make the same car which I made in Dubai as well. So it should be all new coins. So I acquired new coins, especially when 14 August day was coming. So I started exactly 1 year before. That all the coins joined together is showing something very special. There is a motive behind all these coins, So it is independence. We are a free country. We must live together, join like this, and stay for the grace of God together without any problem.
Different folks making our world a really interesting place. Thanks for watching The World Today. I'm Amarachi Ubani.